104.5 The Team, your home for New York sports. Now joining us, one of the best dressed and tallest guys on Radio Row, which is saying something, Steve. Steve Palazzolo from Pro Football Focus joins us. Good to talk to you. It's been a minute since Houston.
Yeah, it was great running into you guys, and not much has happened. It's just we've been waiting for the draft for the last 5 months. 5 months? How long has it been? Where are we?
We're 1 week away now from the draft. Let's start with the New York team that picks first in the first round, and that's the New York Jets. The best case scenario for the Jets at the 6th spot would be what?
Oh man, I haven't thought of it from a best case scenario standpoint for them. I don't know where they stand as far as the quarterbacks go. I mean, I still think they should be in the market, of course, with maybe a Mitchell Trubisky potentially on the board. I think the board shapes up well to get a very good defensive player as well. So I think if it's not going to be Trubisky and that's not their guy, whether it's I'd look at Reuben Foster, a Marshawn Lattimore. I'd probably say Lattimore from a best case scenario standpoint because I just think he's the best corner in the class. He fits a need, fits the man coverage style that Todd Bowles wants to employ, but it still depends on the quarterback situation. Do they fall in love with the Trubisky and do they make a move to get him?
Steve Palazzolo with us right now from Pro Football Focus. Steve, is there any one pick that you see that could make the kind of impact that, I mean, obviously they're not going to take down the Patriots this year, but makes this the kind of season Jets fans can look forward to?
I think these defensive players, I'm a huge fan of Derek Barnett from Tennessee as well. I think he fits multiple schemes, and he's a guy that can become a very good pass rusher at the next level. Jamal Adams, I know they already have a bunch of safeties on the Jets roster, but Adams is the type of guy that moves around the defense. And if it's, if the goal is knock off the Patriots, I think getting safeties that can cover tight ends is a good way to go. And Jamal Adams is certainly a guy that fits that mold. So I think there's plenty of defensive talent, defensive playmakers for them to look at. And a lot of these guys should be ready to contribute from day one.
Let's move from the Jets to the Giants. Most likely position we're looking at for the Giants' first-round selection.
Yeah, they're a little bit further down, and I think, they have not drafted a linebacker since, like, the 1800s or whatever it is, but I would love to see them, look at a guy like Zach Cunningham from Vanderbilt. I'd love to see them look at some of these linebackers because it's a top-heavy class, and I think there's good value in the back end of the first for some of the linebackers. I think O.J. Howard at tight end is a guy, if he falls. I know he's getting some top 10 type of hype, but I think when it comes down to it, teams might look at positional value and say, do we really want to spend a top 10, top 15 pick on a tight end? So there's this outside chance that O.J. Howard falls there, or maybe if he doesn't, David Njoku. So I think that linebacker tight end position, certainly one that they could look at.
Steve Palazzolo with us right now from Pro Football Focus, talking a little draft right here on 104.5 The Team. In between the Jets and the Giants are the Bills, and that's the one that's had me most confused. What do you think they're going to do?
There's a lot of smoke with the Trubisky deal. So are they in love with Mitch Trubisky from UNC? Are they the team that makes that power move from 10 to either to 3 or 4, wherever they feel like they need to go to secure a quarterback? I think that is a huge question. Then they have, the major holes at wide receiver, the need for depth at wide receiver, the holes at cornerback with Stephon Gilmore moving on. I think this could be a draft where if they don't go quarterback, is it Corey Davis out of Western Michigan, Mike Williams out of Clemson? Do they go and grab another wide receiver? Or, I think the cornerback position is a great place to get guys in the second, maybe third round. But at the top end, if a Lattimore was to fall, I think he could be in play. I really like Tre'Davious White out of LSU. I think he's at least worth a look. I think the corner position has started to drop a little bit as far as value goes, but wide receiver corner, it would be a great place to look if they don't go and get their quarterback.
For you, is Mitchell Trubisky the best quarterback still in this draft class?
It's one of those deals where I think any of these quarterbacks could be the best. It certainly depends on situation, but I think Trubisky fits more situations. So, I wouldn't have an issue with, say, Deshaun Watson going to Buffalo, sitting behind Tyrod Taylor, and then eventually taking over. I think Trubisky could do the same thing. I just think Trubisky fits more schemes. Watson probably needs a little bit more of the offense adjusted to him at this point while he develops. And then guys like Patrick Mahomes, Mahomes could become the best out of all of them, but certainly needs the offense adjusted to him while he certainly has a big, long way to go to just start playing like an NFL-style quarterback because he's got that gunslinger type of style, likes to make plays outside the pocket, and I think he needs to be harnessed just a little bit.
Steve, are you shocked by all the pub that these clearly like flawed quarterbacks are getting all of a sudden this year?
I'm not, because the more I talk about it and have talked to some some pretty smart people around the NFL. They said maybe they're not flawed so much as they just haven't had to do NFL-type things in college, and we don't know what they're going to be able to do at the next level. But they're all talented in their own ways. I mean, Watson has won some big games, made some big plays, always seems to bounce back from adversity. Trubisky was outstanding, just has that 1 year under his belt. Mahomes' natural playmaking is really incredible to watch. But it's just a matter of putting them in these NFL systems and seeing where they shine. So to me, it's going to be they're talented guys, but it's about fit and coaching staff and what these guys can get out of the quarterbacks, because there's certainly something there. And that's why I say down the road, if any of these guys are the top quarterback, I wouldn't really be that surprised.
Steve Palazzolo from Pro Football Focus with us right now on 104.5 The Team.
Who's become the most interesting, the most intriguing prospect? Maybe someone lower on the draft board overall, but someone you really point to and say, this guy could be a real standout at the next level?
I mean, interesting is one. From an interest standpoint, I look at Leonard Fournette. I really think, he's probably going to go higher than I would anticipate. But I look at him as a guy that doesn't fit every scheme, just doesn't fit well with every team, and the right fit could be really good, and I don't know that he should be there. There are a lot of guys as far as look, Sidney Jones from Washington is a first-round talent, and I'm fascinated to see how teams look at him from an injury standpoint. Tore his Achilles, claims he's going to be back in time. Sidney Jones could be that guy that becomes a steal in the second, even though he's a first-round type of player. And then Obi Melifonwu from Connecticut, just a safety that can play cornerback, essentially, 6'4", 220, and a very talented player that, with his athleticism, I think could absolutely go in the first round. I want to see if he's a safety, is he a corner? I think teams are looking at him as both, and he's a guy that could be a very intriguing player, especially the first night of the draft.
Steve, who reaches on Joe Mixon?
Well, I think Kansas City is an interesting team at the end of the first round. It's a need there, and Mixon certainly fits their style. I have a feeling on that in the NFL. I have a feeling the NFL says, all right, we're not going to take him in the first. I'm not saying collectively, but everybody's going through their own little moral discussion, and they say, well, if we don't take him in the first and then we take him in the second, we'll be okay. And whether you agree with that or not, I just have a feeling that's where the line of thinking goes. So I have a feeling he goes early in the second round, early to mid-second round for Mixon.
Steve Palazzolo with us right now on 104.5 The Team. Before I let you go, there's a name that I hadn't heard a lot that I'm starting to hear pop up more and more. The defensive end from Missouri, Charles Harris. What do you see in him?
Yeah, we've been back and forth on him. We've had him as high as 15 on our board. He's now landed, where is he now? He's close to 30, 35, I think, on our 36 on our latest board. It's a loaded edge rush class. Harris probably has the best spin move of anybody in the class. Excellent pass rusher. Needs to improve against the run, but I think he's very much in that late first-round type of mix. All those teams that are looking for edge rushers, whether it's Dallas, whether it's Green Bay, I think he fits multiple schemes, and a lot of teams. It's a draft to just load up on edge rushers, and Harris is one of the best. So I do expect his name to probably get called late first, early second.
Steve, where do you watch the draft? Like, we're doing a pizza war room, DC pizza war room here. We're gonna huddle up and focus on it. But your stats are so on point. Like, where do you lock down in a bunker somewhere?
I'm working, man. I gotta work. I'm actually doing a live show on SI.com with the crew from Sports Illustrated. So myself and Mike Renner, another PFF analyst, we're gonna be we're gonna be your second screen for draft night. So when you guys are having your pizza party, you're going to throw on SI.com, and we'll give you the lowdown, all of these stats and analysis, and all the best fits from the first round.
Yeah, we'll steal your information so we look like we know what we're talking about, Steve. That's what we do.
Exactly. That's what we're here for. That is what PFF is here for. Come use our information.
Pro Football Focus is Steve Palazzolo. We appreciate you, man. Great stuff as always.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.